my channel, welcome back to another video. I'm Jessie E, this is Ravenclaw, and you're watching. I'm about to lose so many subscribers. It's fine, I don't deserve y'all anyway. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the changes for my channel in 2020. I'm gonna be talking to you about the things that are going to be leaving my channel, what's going to be coming, and also what is going to be staying. There's gonna be a lot of changes on Bowties and Books. Okay, so I put off filming this video for a really long time. I don't know what that is. Let's hope that we never see that again. I've put off filming this video for a very long time.
I can't even look at y'all.
Because I'm really scared. I'm really scared that you're not going to be happy with the changes. The changes that I'm making are definitely going to be the best for me. And as much as I love y'all and try and give y'all what y'all want, whenever possible, I also need to prioritize myself. Let's rip the Band-Aid off slowly and incrementally. So let's just start by talking about what is going to be staying the same, okay? That way before we get into the change, I can lure you in to a state of comfort. It's like wrapping a warm blanket around you before I press the blanket against your mouth and smother you to death. So my Spilling Positivity on Booktubers series is going to be staying on my channel in 2020. Those are my monthly shout out videos where I drink tea and I talk about booktubers that I really like. They're definitely not my most watched video on my channel. They're probably the least watched video that I make, but it means a lot to me. It means a lot to me to be shouting out and spotlighting creators in the community, so I'm going to keep doing that. My Black Girl Magic series is also going to be staying. That's never leaving my channel. If you're not familiar with my Black Girl Mom series,
what is happening to me?
if you are not familiar with my Black Girl Magic vlog series, oh, I see what I did. I combined magic and vlog. I have a college degree. That is my series where I critically analyze and review the representation for Black girls in science fiction and fantasy books. It brings me nothing but joy, so is staying. And it seems like y'all really enjoy that series too. I'm still going to be doing wrap-ups and TVRs on this channel, and in my wrap-ups, I'm still going to be including memes, but I'm gonna do that consistently for every single video. I kinda did it for some of my wrap-ups this year and not others, but in 2020, all of my wrap-ups are going to have memes in them. So basically, every time I review a book, you're gonna get like a 5-second meme that I thought was really funny. These are memes that I think are funny and nobody else probably does. Blackathon, Mythathon, and the BookTube Awards are all going to be staying on my channel. Blackathon is a readathon that I hosted last year with Francina Simone and Lauren from the novel Lush. We had a fucking blast. It's set during February Black History Month, and all throughout the month we just read Black people books. It was the best reading month that I had next to June, which isn't surprising because queer. And Mythathon is a readathon that I hosted where I cast various booktubers as gods or goddesses and also paired them with an earthly element like fire, air, earth, and water. Next year I'm gonna try and do Mythathon twice, and this time we are going to be focusing exclusively on myths from under-celebrated communities. So Indigenous myths, Trinidadian myths, Chinese myths. I'm super freaking excited about it. It's basically a way for us to celebrate mythology that just doesn't get talked about, because Greek mythology is kind of the only mythology that is really taught in public schools or seen and treated as valid. And of course, I'm going to continue running Beyond the Binary. This is a monthly book club that I started with Crescent Moon Reads, but Crescent Moon Reads is no longer participating in the book club, although you might see them pop in from time to time. The book club right now is pretty much just ran on the NB Book Club Instagram, and that's where a lot of the discussions take place. We read books that have non-binary protagonists or are simply by non-binary authors, and it's a freaking blast. The January book is Trans Love, a collection of love stories from trans binary and trans non-binary authors, and I'm so freaking excited for it. And then our February book is Girl, Woman, Other, which just won the Man Booker Prize in 2019, the first Black woman to win the Man Booker Prize. I'm so freaking excited. All right, I guess now is the time for me to tell you what's leaving.
Let's just start with the part that I know you're gonna hate.
So my intro is going to be changing. Ever since my first video, Ravenclaw has been a part of my intro. Ravenclaw is a kitten that I got last January, and she's the bane of my existence, but also the love of my life. And I don't know if y'all haven't noticed the fact that Ravenclaw has not appeared in any of my vlogs since like early spring of 2019, but Ravenclaw no longer lives with me. I talked about this on Instagram a while ago, but I know not all of you follow me on my Instagram stories. I haven't actually talked about this on my channel But I bought Ravenclaw as a present for my best friend whose cat was stolen by his ex-girlfriend. He'd mentioned that he'd always wanted a black cat, so I went out, I got a black cat, and that cat was Ravenclaw. Unfortunately, his roommate was severely allergic to cats, which is why Ravenclaw lived with me. But Ravenclaw was never my cat. Unfortunately, my bestie moved to Wisconsin and took Raven with him. Now, because of the fact that I know y'all love Ravenclaw, I have kept her a part of my intro. He sends me snaps of her, stories of her constantly, so I get my Ravenclaw fix, but I know that y'all don't. I know that y'all love her even more than I probably did. That cat was evil.
Okay, she was evil. You didn't see what I saw.
But it's getting to the point where I'm just like, at some point, we gotta let her go, okay? I definitely want to make like a farewell Ravenclaw video where I put together all of the clips and the videos, the funny moments that I have with her, just so that y'all have a video where you can see her clips. But I'm so sorry. But yeah, Ravenclaw is leaving my channel in 2020. And this is the point where I know that everybody's gonna unsubscribe. I understand. On the plus side, I'm currently working with a logo artist to design a logo for my channel and a new intro and outro. I've been really thinking about like what aesthetic I want to tailor this channel to, like what's my aesthetic. And there are so many booktubers who have their own thing. You know, like there's a lot of booktubers who have this really cool celestial magical aesthetic. And that's just not me. There are booktubers who have this kind of like visco girl aesthetic or chaotic, you know, t-shirt and jeans aesthetic, and that's not me either. There are amazing booktubers who have aesthetics that are specific to their culture and their cultural fashions and their ethnic heritages, but that's not necessarily me either. And I realized that I've always been obsessed with vintage fashion, always. I just never realized that that's what it was. But I've always loved bow ties, suspenders, hats, vintage glasses. The feminine clothes that I enjoy are all of a vintage style, which is a part of the reason that I don't wear feminine clothes is because they aren't designed in the way that I like. So in 2020, you're gonna see me completely renovate my channel, you know, my Instagram, my background to fit like a vintage vibe. I'm gonna be doing a lot of vintage hauls, vintage style videos. I wanna learn how to vintage style my hair in that like 50s, 40s kind of victory curls wave style. But when you have kinky hair, that's not a thing. So I have to figure out what the heck I'm gonna do for that, like vintage retro styles on natural hair. But I'm already looking up tutorials for that. I'm so freaking excited. I'm currently working on mood boards for vintage and retro fashion. So feel free to send me stuff that you think that I might like. And the last two things that are leaving my channel, this is another thing that's gonna make me lose all of my subscribers. I'm just gonna say it really fast. I'm gonna be reading a hell of a lot less YA in 2020. I am going to be reading far less young adult fiction in 2020. A lot of the YA reads that I read in 2019 were so disappointing for me. Now, I still love YA as a genre, I just think I need to be more selective about it. And even as a kid, I was really picky about young adult fiction. So I don't think it's the fact that I'm no longer a teenager, because even when I was a teenager, a lot of the cliches in young adult fiction really bored me and bothered me, and I was constantly reaching for, you know, new adult and adult books. Like I started reading Dean Koontz when I was 11. I've always loved YA with a passion, but I hold YA to a very high standard. I think that's why I hold my YA books to a high standard, because they're some of my favorite types of books to read. And so when I see all of these YA books coming out that just have subpar writing, like genre or not, like we love pretending that YA means that you can just whip out a book and we can ignore the poor quality of writing simply because it was written for teenagers, as if teenagers don't deserve quality writing, as if teenagers are not smart enough to comprehend complex writing or well thought out writing or methodical writing. I just think that it's so insulting when people say that YA can't be well written. So I'm still gonna be reading YA, but just much, much more selectively. A lot of the disappointing reads that I read this year were young adult reads, which brings me to my next thing, my last change for my channel in 2020, or the last of the things that are leaving my channel in 2020. And if you haven't unsubscribed by now, this is probably the thing that's gonna make you unsubscribe. I am no longer reading hyped books. That's dead. Y'all killed it. Here's what I mean by that. I'm a big community person. If I see people in the community, especially people that I really, really like and want to talk about things with, reading the same book, getting excited about a new release, I will totally pick it up. And I have no shame about picking up something just because my friends do. I'm here to talk to y'all about books. It reasons that I would pick up the same books that most of y'all are reading.
However,
I was looking over my stats for 2019. Overwhelmingly, I'm probably gonna make a video about this where I calculate and give exact percentages, but overwhelmingly, I'm going to estimate 80 to 90% of the disappointing books that I read in 2019, I read specifically because y'all told me to. AKA, I was picking up these books because the community was like, oh my God, this is great, and not because I necessarily wanted to read them. I was picking up books for the hype, and I really want to enjoy hype books. I want to pick up a book that everybody else is reading and freaking love the crap out of it. But unfortunately, for the most part, that was not the case. So I'm no longer going to be picking up hype books in 2020, but that doesn't mean that I am not going to read a book if it is hyped. It just means if I look at a book and the synopsis draws me in, and my interest is piqued, I will absolutely read that book, even if it is hyped. But it being hyped is no longer going to be enough of a reason for me to read that book, if that makes sense. I've received so many comments from y'all, and I really appreciate this comment, saying that you don't care, like saying that you actually like that I don't read very many hyped books. But considering the fact that most of the booktubers who do well on this platform do read hyped books, and even when I review videos that have hyped books in them, those videos do much better than without hyped books, just illustrates how important popular books are to BookTube. But like I said in the beginning of this video, this channel is about me and my self-care and what makes me happy, which means that reading books purely because they're hyped has to go, because it is not contributing to my happiness. The books that had the most hurtful content to me as a person of color, as a queer person, as a feminist, were hyped books. And were hyped books recommended by readers who don't have to deal with the kind of marginalizations, unfortunately, that I have to deal with when I read a book. So yeah, before I pick up any hyped books in 2020, I'm going to need to see very detailed reviews from reviewers that I know are good at catching hurtful and problematic content so that I don't have to expose myself to it. Even excluding problematic, hurtful content, many of the hype books that I read in 2019 simply were not well written, like at all. There are way too many good books out there for me to suffer through insufferable writing.
I just can't do it.
Oh my freaking gosh. Now we can talk about the fun stuff. What is coming to my channel? What was this? Let's never do that again. When I started Bow Ties and Books in late 2018, I think it was the late summer of 2018, I did a lot of skits on my channel, and that just kind of went away in 2019. I said at the beginning of the year that I was gonna do skits, and then I just stopped, mainly because I was
Reading hyped books and not making the videos I wanted to make.
but that's none of my business. So skits are coming back to my channel. I'm really excited about it. They weren't the most watched out of all my videos, but I liked making them, so they're coming back. And if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I have been working on a TBR game for months now. This is 100% inspired by Becca from Becca in the Books. She has this Bookopoly series that really has inspired me to make my own TBR game. I finally figured out what it is, and so I'm going to be playing it monthly as a way to pick out what books I'm going to be reading for y'all, and I can't wait to upload the first video. I hope that you like it because
I've been working on it.
And the change that I'm probably the most excited about is that I am launching a new channel. This channel is going to be a channel devoted exclusively to comics and graphic novels. So when I started Bow Ties and Books, I loved talking about comics and graphic novels. And a big problem that I ran into when I would discuss comics on my channel is I would talk about like volume 4 of Copperhead, for example. But because BookTube isn't reading Copperhead, no one would know what I was talking about, and so those videos wouldn't get watched. And I can't get into the level of depth that I want to get into with my comic book reviews on BookTube because so many booktubers, if they read comics, don't read the kind of comics that I review. So I'm really freaking excited to launch a comic book channel where I can just gush about comics because they've been a love of mine since I was a child. I don't know when the channel is going to launch. I'm hoping to launch it by January 1st. It's probably not gonna happen. By the end of January for sure though.
Maybe.
And last, you're gonna be seeing a lot more series on my channel. I love series videos. There's something so cohesive about them. I'm gonna be making specific book recommendations videos. I've wanted to do these kinds of videos since I started my channel, but I just didn't have enough knowledge of recent books in order to make them. So for example, I'm going to be making a book recommendations video recommending books that are set in boarding schools, for example. That's a video I've been wanting to create for a really long time. I'm also going to be launching Thriller Thursdays, where maybe one Thursday out of the month I talk about some of my favorite thrillers and also include thrillers that have disappointed me. You're going to see bookish news and bookish adaptations videos every quarter from me. I started these on my channel last year and I really enjoyed making them, but it fell off because I couldn't figure out kind of how I wanted to do it. So in 2020, you're gonna see every quarter me launch bookish news videos, which talks about recently announced sequels and recently announced debuts and books that you're going to see released later in the year, or maybe a book announcement from an author who has been dormant for a long time, just any kind of news that is centric to books. And then you're also going to see quarterly news on bookish TV show and bookish movie adaptations. I will also be doing quarterly anticipated reads videos. Oh, and last but not least, I will be reviewing every single book that I read on my Goodreads. I love just having one place that has my book reviews, and I hate that I've only reviewed a small handful of books on my Goodreads this year. I find that so unsatisfying, so I want to write reviews for every single book that I read in 2020, even if it's just a few lines, but I actually really enjoy writing. I love writing book reviews in particular, and they help jog my memory so much. Definitely follow me on Goodreads if you are interested in seeing my Goodreads reviews. Oh my gosh, that is it for this video. Please comment down below and let me know what you think of these changes, if you're happy about them, if you're sad. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to discuss these with you in the comments, but most importantly, thank you so much for supporting me, because as much as I joke around, I know that those of you who love my channel and have been with me for quite some time will stand by me making changes that I need in order to be happy here on this platform and to take care of my mental health. If you made it this far in the video, comment down below with the word changes. Let me know which of these you're most excited about seeing in 2020, and I will see you in my next video.